Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel, Microscope Beauty. So I asked in our Hello Again's Facebook group for some questions, and a lot of them were about mental health, my anxiety, and going through this entire process of therapy. So I decided I wanted to dedicate a whole video to this topic because it is quite broad. There's a lot of stuff I want to say, so that's what we're going to talk about today. I actually haven't prepared for this video, so I hope it has kind of like a flow and some continuity to it, but I really just haven't figured out what I want to say quite yet. So I'm going to start with some of the questions, and I guess that's going to kind of guide me through this video. So a lot of people were trying to ask me about mental health, but were a little hesitant about it. A lot of people were just curious about how to deal with issues, how to be open and honest with your partner. Someone asked like how do you go to that next step of actually like seeking professional help? A lot of people acknowledge that there might be something that they need to seek therapy for, but it's really hard to get over that hurdle. So I guess I'll just start at the beginning. So I started experiencing panic attacks probably, I'd say about 5 years ago, near the end of college. It's when they really started picking up. There was actual like physical representations of my panic attacks. I've always had anxiety. I've always been a very anxious, nervous person. I like to have control over things. I like being detail oriented. Obviously, this is a planner YouTube channel, for Pete's sake. Like, I was all about being in control of my life because if I wasn't, it caused me a lot of anxiety. So my panic attacks started basically near the tail end of college. So the thing about mental health is that it's just such a completely different experience for everyone that it was really hard for me to notice that I was going through things I didn't necessarily have to. I always thought that panic attacks were this huge like beast of a thing that make you incapable of doing work, but that's not necessarily the case. And I think that's a very important thing I want you guys to know is that your anxiety and your panic attacks or your mental illness is just as real as someone who has something that might be more intense, I guess. So the experience is different for everyone, but around that time, I really started to have like outward panic attacks. I would get really warm, like my temperature would raise in my body. I couldn't breathe. I'd start hyperventilating. But in my head, like I knew I was fine. Like in my head, I can convince myself, or I was trying to convince myself that what I was feeling wasn't necessarily true. But I couldn't stop myself from reacting. So I would get it into my head that like Alex would leave me, for example. But naturally I'd be like, no, he won't. We are in love. We are best friends. Everything's going fine. But outwardly I'd just freak out about it and I'd have shakes and I couldn't control I just couldn't control it. And so it was around like about a year and a half ago that they really started to pick up. There's certain things that trigger my panic attacks more than others. Stress is definitely involved. When I'm in situations I don't have a lot of control over. Travel is really hard for me as well because if I'm not the one determining like plans or anything, or if I'm just going with the flow, I have a really hard time doing that. So travel tends to spur panic attacks. But basically about a year and a half ago, I realized that this couldn't continue the way it was because it was really starting to affect my work. I would have a panic attack and then the next couple of days I just couldn't really get back into the mindset of being productive. So around that time we decided that we should start looking into therapy, and Alex wanted to go as well for different reasons. So it was a lot easier to, I think, find a therapist and get into it because Alex was doing it with me. He wanted one as well, so we started to look around. And honestly, it's really quite simple to find therapists, but finding the right one was, a lot of people were telling me was going to be the hardest part. So what we did was we looked at our insurance. Since we're self-employed, we have very odd insurance. So we looked at that to see who could take our insurance. So when we started looking and Google searching, we went through the health insurance marketplace or whatever it is to see what our insurance could cover, because our insurance changes every single year. It's just how it is with self-employment. So the insurance we currently are on is actually super good, and they consider therapy and mental health as part of a preventative like thing. So it's actually covered by primary insurance. So it only costs us about $10 copay for each one of our visits. So that made it really easy to just start searching around for therapists. Alex wanted a guy and I wanted a girl. It was just a personal preference for us. And we went in knowing that the people we were talking to might not necessarily be a good fit for us. So I met my therapist about 2 months ago now, and I immediately felt comfortable with her. That's something that if you are trying to find a therapist, it's kind of like dating. You're not necessarily going to click with everyone or finding friends. It's not going to be an immediate fit every single time. But luckily for me, it was, which I think really helped with the whole anxiety about going to therapy. She just was very understanding. She gave me the feedback I was looking for, or even no feedback. She just listened. And we were able to start working on diving deeper into my anxiety. And I took a couple of sessions. So basically like the first 2 or 3 sessions are just like a get to know you. I feel like we all have so much we want to talk about that it's just, once we get in there and start talking, it just was so easy, which I thought was going to be very hard for me. I tend to be quite a private person beyond this video, apparently. And I thought, there's no way I could tell this stranger, but they're just so good at asking the right questions and getting you to be comfortable, at least like my therapist is. If you need to find one that does that for you, that after about the 3rd session, we actually started getting into like, do I have OCD? Do I have, like, what do I have? What's going on with me? And that got really interesting because we started to go back into my history to figure out where a lot of this stuff started. And I didn't realize how far back a lot of this went. A lot of my like inner dialogue and all of my like anxiety issues started a lot farther back than I thought. I thought it started near college, but in reality, it started around elementary school. There were these instances and circumstances in my life that led me to develop the anxiety and the stuff that is going on with me. So I hope that kind of explains like the journey that I like got to determine it. But honestly, if you think you want to go to therapy, you should. I feel like once I finally was considering therapy, I was definitely at that point where it was necessary. And even if you don't have anxiety or necessarily like anything that you want fixed or changed about you, it's really a hard subject because honestly, I don't think anything's necessarily wrong with me. Like I'm not broken. I don't have some sort of like disease or anything. I just think that I'm not being the best version of myself because of my anxiety. So I want to work on it to figure out tools and tricks to make my panic attacks shorter or get rid of them altogether. So it's more like a process, like you're working on bettering yourself. So I think therapy is really great for anyone. Like Alex doesn't really have the same anxiety. He definitely doesn't have panic attacks, but he's going for more personal development reasons. So I'm a huge fan of therapy, a huge supporter of it. I think it's just, afterwards, I feel like emotionally raw after a therapy session, but I also find that I'm much more open with Alex and my family, and I'm able to talk about things I didn't think I normally would talk about. Like this entire video wouldn't happen if I didn't go to therapy. Like my mental health stuff has been going on forever, and I haven't told you guys about it because I didn't feel comfortable enough, or I didn't feel like, I don't know, I didn't feel like I could. And now I'm learning that there's definitely ways you can discuss this stuff that are healthy and proactive. And I really want to be able to help you guys know that like you can come to me and talk to me about it. If you worry about like, should I find a therapist? What should I do? Like, I'm here for you. I'm here for you because I think it's already made such a huge impact on my life, and it's only been a couple of months. So now I'm going to go through and try to see if there are any other questions that you guys might have. A lot of people just wanted to know about the process and everything. So, I found a really good one. So Leah asked, what's it like to manage business with mental health issues? So she was saying how sometimes it's hard for her to do certain jobs with it. So how do I manage my business? So I'm very honest with myself. I think before I just wasn't. I just ignore it, or I'd be like, it's fine, I'm fine, let's just keep going. But now when I feel a panic attack coming on, or when I feel that those emotions are within me, I know to take it a bit easier. Like, I know to just, maybe today I'm not going to do all that really like high stress work. I'm going to just focus on doing orders or try to do something that doesn't give me more anxiety. But honestly, I feel like I would handle it the same way if I had another job, but I think being able to work from home actually makes it easier, because if I am feeling overwhelmed, I can just work in bed right here. I work right here. I can work there, or I can talk to Alex about it. So it's really good to have like that support with me. But I don't necessarily think it's like hindered my business at all. Sometimes it sets things back a little bit because I can't get everything done that I want to. But other than that, I know that it's a part of me. That's the thing about mental health. Like, you're never going to be cured. You're just going to be able to manage and handle things better. So I just understand that it's with me and that it's just going to be there. So I try not to let it like control at least my work life, or I don't know. I hope that answers your question. I think being aware of your mental disabilities or your mental limitations, that's a better word, your mental limitations, makes it a whole lot easier to work past them. So this video is a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. So I hope this helps you guys, or at least helps start the conversation about mental health. I would love any other of your questions down there. Put them in the comments. Let me know what you guys are thinking, what you guys are going through. I would love to talk about this and make it a bit more of an open subject. Talking about therapy was always such a big taboo, but I think it's very important to shine light on the fact that it's different for everyone. Everyone can experience it, and ways and techniques and just things to help get past it. So let me know what you thought of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know it's a bit different from my usual videos, but I want to get more honest and open on here and show you guys what's going on with my life, talk about business, talk about highs and lows and all of that stuff. So thank you guys so much for watching and getting this far in the video. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to see more videos, hopefully like this, talking about more difficult topics. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.